Buddy, TK here, TK and Drinks, and it's a Thursday night, so you know we've got another Inside the Mead Maker studio where we dive into the world of mead and uncover the stories behind every sip. Whether you're a seasoned brewer or just curious about the craft, join us as we explore the art, science, and passion that fuel this ancient drink. In each episode, I'll bring you insights, interviews, and everything you need to know to enrich your mead experience. So let's get started. What's going on? Got people popping in already. Hey, Kyle. Appreciate you. Mariners Mead. Always a pleasure to see other mead folks popping in. Tonight, I'm going to be speaking with Deadwood Meadery out of the Las Vegas Valley in Nevada. I think they're technically in Pahrump, but anybody who's not from that area might not know that name, so I think they put Las Vegas Valley on there because it sounds more recognizable, which I would do too, definitely. So tonight, got the request in. There's Deadwood's joined up with us. I did want to have a few notes real quick before we get into the interview. The TK and Drinks first official color match challenge is live. I don't know where the best angle to get the. Okay, so there's the Darth Maul. So this is my Darth Maul glass. I've been drinking out of this since I started the whole TK and Drinks journey, and so I have a challenge going on to create a mead or submit a mead to best color match the true red of the Darth Maul character from Star Wars. I'm probably going to get sued by LucasArts or Disney or whoever owns them at this point, but I just want to put that back there as a reminder for anybody. That contest is open, challenge is open and ready for acceptance. I'm almost at half capacity, so anybody else definitely would be joining up and not be the only person in there. So accept. Let's see if we can't get, I believe it should be Tom joining us from Deadwood. Yes. Connection. Hello. How are you doing tonight?
Hello. Good. How are you?
I'm doing very good. Go ahead and introduce yourself real quick, and then we'll get straight away into this, because this has been a long time in the works.
Absolutely. Yep. So I'm Tom Nichols. I'm the owner and operator at Deadwood Meadery. We're in Henderson, Nevada, which is about 15 minutes away from the Las Vegas Strip. So we're actually a little closer. Parump's about an hour and a half outside of the valley. So we're basically all within inside of the general casino expectations or Las Vegas experience. We're part of that general valley, just in a slightly smaller suburb to the southeast of the Strip.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, you're in a much better location, because definitely our strip adjacent. I actually lived in Henderson for about a year. Lived up in well, I don't know if it's considered Henderson, out in Seven Hills.
Yep.
Yeah, right off the St. Rose Highway in Seven Hills, man. So that was my stomping grounds. I don't know where you guys are at in that located compared to that, but
I'm like, maybe 10, 15 minutes away. So I'm like just a little further east.
yes. So definitely anybody who's heading to the Las Vegas area, you can definitely visit a meadery while you're in Vegas officially, not have to go out to Pahrump, which I was going to say, man, I understand why you would say Las Vegas instead of Pahrump, because anybody who's played Fallout knows that's a rough spot.
I'm like, well, I mean, we could have been in Good Springs and it would have been a little more apropos, but I mean, we'll take the valley.
Yeah, I know. I think Henderson's definitely a good thing to have on your address. So thank you so much. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and it's really cool because we're part of one of the smaller districts here in the city of Las Vegas in the Valley that are basically designated towards these smaller brewing and different types of operations. So we're part of what's known as the Henderson Booze District. So it includes ourselves.
Yeah.
Then we have two breweries. One is which is just celebrating its 10th anniversary, which is super cool.
Yeah.
And let's see, we also have our distillery reopening, doing a grand reopening today, as well as a winery and educational winemaking facility. So we have a whole bunch of diversity here, which really helps to promote the area and promote all these micro and nano breweries, and the locals basically push that really seems to get a lot of people's attention both on and off the Strip.
Very cool, man. That's the Booze District. It even has a cool, savvy name to it. I like that. So what is your guys' cross streets? Where are you guys at?
So we're basically we're off of Auto Show Drive, so we're basically Auto Show and Eastgate. So we're kind of right where the 215 would divert onto Lake Mead Parkway, where it meets up with the
Oh,
95.
oh, gotcha. So you guys are on like I guess that'd be like the east side of Henderson.
Yeah, like the older part of Henderson.
Yeah, got you. Yeah,
Yep.
when I was there, I was working down on Eastern and Serene down in
Yep.
that area. So that's not too far from where. Yeah, you guys are just right down the road. Man, I wish you guys would have been there like 20 years ago.
I'm beginning to think I'm wishing that too. I mean, not that I was old
Oh,
enough at the time, but hey, like,
fair
we
enough.
could use it around here. Yeah, it's a
Hey, no,
unique city, so
yeah, it's very cool. But I was gonna say, thanks for joining me. We've been talking for I feel like multiple years now, trying to back and forth. Oh,
yeah,
I got time, and but I'm glad we finally pulled it together and
yeah.
um, get to chat with you and learn more. So you are not the only meadery in Nevada, but you're the only meadery in that greater Las Vegas area.
Yeah, we're the only one in our county, basically. So we have
There
one
you
up
go, Clark
north in
County.
Reno. Yep. We have one up north in Reno. We have one in Pahrump, and then
Oh,
ourselves here in the Vegas Valley.
so there is one in Pahrump.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. We're the
Oh,
third meadery, basically. So
gotcha. Okay. And how has it been down there? It seems like you've probably been, based on your previous statement, things that have to be going fairly well for you in the booze district.
yes, yeah. I mean, it's unique. We're in an interesting spot because, um, as everybody else is feeling the crunch, Las Vegas's commercial rents have tripled in the last couple of years.
Whoa.
A lot of people renewing in the last 2 years going through today are looking at 50% plus rent increases. So yeah, so basically, we're all feeling the crunch in the entire valley, both us here down in our Brewery Row off of Main Street, and even the smaller independent ones that are scattered throughout the valley.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of feeling the crunch. So with each success, it kind of is a balancing act between weighing new costs and basically turning new profits into support for those costs.
Yeah.
So we're very fortunate to be able to keep up business because it is a rather expensive compared to a lot of other places to build a food or drink establishment, especially one where you're producing the drink, so to
Yeah.
speak. So it definitely has unique challenges. Um, but we are very fortunate that we have a regular clientele, a good amount from the Las Vegas Strip and tourism, which is fantastic. And I
Nice.
think more or less it's just we balance out really well. It's a tough game regardless because it's at the end of the day everyone's got the same couple of bucks to spend, and
Right.
you want to give people the best you can for their dollar. So we have to make sure that we're on our A's and B's and always basically on top of our customer service and
Yeah.
working with the community. So it involves a lot of engagement and a lot of time, but at the same point we are very lucky that despite everything we are managing to continue to push and grow and move into new markets. And I will say that I'm very, very fortunate.
So new markets, are you guys in some sort of level of distribution, I assume then?
Yeah, yeah, yes. So we have right now we're putting out two kinds of products. We're putting out our kegs for basically commercial distribution through bars, and then we're also selling our stills in bottle format to local liquor stores. So right now we're currently in about 5 or 6 liquor stores, and then we have over a dozen locations that are carrying us right now. A few permanently on tap.
Nice.
And yeah, and we get to be a part of, we're lucky enough that some of our other breweries across the stretch of the city are carrying us on guest tap. So we're really
Nice.
very, yeah, and that's, I think, one of the things that escapes a lot is that even though we're a meadery, we here in Las Vegas, because of the heavy influence of the casinos, small businesses and communities like this, we really do stick together. There's not so much competition. Is what's good for the one is good for the many. So,
Yeah.
being able to have that kind of connection is fantastic. Nothing I would ever really expect before opening the business.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm sure there's just a ton of like unknown unknowns out there that you get in there and you're just like, well, I didn't know about that, and I certainly wasn't expecting anything along those lines, but here I am. It's like when you buy your house, buy a house or buy it, or lease a building. It's like I didn't know I needed to be
Oh.
a plumber, but I guess I'm Mario today.
Oh yeah, no, I got one of those on the home list. Don't you worry. I'm like, and then you do it here, and it's just like, sure, I'll be a plumber and electrician at work. I'll come home and be a plumber at night. But at least at the end of the day, it's experience. And I'm like, well, if you're not going to get it anywhere, you might as well just learn it and get it over
Yeah,
with. So, I mean,
exactly. It's like not only do I have to be a residential grade electrician, I'm also a commercial grade electrician apparently as well.
yeah, and we definitely have a very unique kind of, like I said, like our codes and our everything. There's a lot of strict regulations
Hmm.
in the city of Las Vegas, mostly because of the casinos. Our health district is very
Um,
strict.
yep.
Our building codes are restrictive. Our landlords are restrictive. So we have different things that prevent us from doing certain things, which again, it's one of those where if there's a small business owner, you're often, well, I can't really afford to have someone else do it. So I'm just going to have to learn it and do it myself.
Yeah, and I, man, it's really difficult for me to hear that there's been such a gigantic increase in like the rent and your guys' just overhead in that capacity because Las Vegas has always had this kind of, maybe it was a misnomer, I guess, but always had this kind of business friendly type of attitude and atmosphere. Hey, come here, start a business. We've got low corporate taxes.
Right.
We've got lower small business taxes, yada yada. And now you get hit with all these other things that I don't know if they're coming from, Clark County, if they're coming from the city of Henderson or whatever, or it's probably just something that's valley-wide. You can't, from Summerlin to Henderson and
Right.
everywhere in between, you're probably
Hmm.
just getting hit with the double ups.
Yes, yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with basically the majority of the commercial land ownership here is not an in-state entity, and so with the influx of a lot of businesses and people over the last 4 years, I think there's just been a push to basically there's companies that have come from more expensive states, so it's made the general appeal
Or out
go
of the
up along
country.
with the price range. Right. So basically, the money's not coming here; it's going out. But they're bringing in, outside companies, which basically, if there's company coming from another state where it's much more expensive to do this kind of business, of course they're going to come and send a satellite location or something like that. So
Yeah,
landlords are working much more on appealing to these smaller, either satellite or small location-based entities. And I think that's really what it is when you compare $1 to the other across state
yeah,
lines, it looks so
yeah.
much nicer, even though to us it's double, triple, four times what it was. So I think it's a more relative thing from a more either national or global perspective. But that's one of those things where you just can't complain and you have to just learn to adapt as best you can.
Yeah, it's not like you can pick your meadery up and just, I'm going to take my meadery and go home.
No, no, no. After almost $100,000 construction, you can't just,
Ooh,
all
yeah.
right, let's do that. Yep.
So,
So yeah,
but do you own the
it's
building
a
at
unique
least?
animal. Oh no, it's purely rent. It's yeah. It, yeah, we're again like super strict terms.
Yeah.
So it's rough, but again, we have zoning's restrictive. So these are a lot of little things where there's no code that just allows for our businesses. So we all have
Wild.
to go through a special panel. So basically, everything is a specialized permit or usage
Yeah.
for any spaces. So at least in the county wise. So it makes it a little, yeah, where there's just more hoops, more people you need to hire to do the official actions and
Yeah.
everything. But I mean, it's a city that we are continuing to grow. So I mean, it does fit, it's apropos to what we're going through.
Right. And that's actually really good information for aspiring commercial mead makers to hear because there's a lot, again, like we just said at the beginning of that piece, unknown unknowns. You don't know what you don't
Hmm.
know. And I mean, I'm sure if Tom back in 2020, Tom had a crystal ball. Well, I mean, I bet 2019 Tom would have told 2020 Tom, hey man, calm down with this. But
Right,
that being
right.
said,
Yep. But
you told yourself in
now
2020, you
oh
found you
no,
probably would have found yourself saying, maybe this isn't necessarily quite the route I want to go, but I mean, you found yourself in the situation. You're dealing with it with the best you can, and
Right.
that's the best message I think for aspiring commercial mead makers is you got to roll with the punches. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the most truest thing, oh, terrible grammar, that I've heard basically has been that the expectations are to triple your budget and double your time frame. And
Yeah.
for us, that was almost exact.
Wow.
It was about $3,000 off, so about like what was it, like about 1.5% off, and about 6 months or half a month off. So
6 weeks. Oh, half a
yes,
month. So
yeah,
2.5, like 15 days. That's not
yeah. So we
bad.
expect
That's pretty.
expected well, no, we expected to be open within 6 months. Instead, we were open within 11 and a half months. So yeah,
Oh,
double your
oh.
time frame.
Double
Yeah,
your time.
double.
I see. 6 weeks off
Yeah,
from being double your time.
absolutely. And our budgetary things, not only known and known unknowns, but the timing again, like you said, like where we started with a roughly $85,000 budget and went a little past triple that, because essentially, end of the day is that when we signed our lease and we got our estimates for construction, it was before the shortages in wood and steel and everything. So
Yeah.
our construction estimate almost tripled, and little things like
Whoa.
that where it just, yeah. And that's the thing, is that it's unfortunate that because of the structure here, it's nearly impossible to run this type of business on a truly mom and pop scale. I would love
Mm,
to do that. It's just due to like overhead of your licensing, your
mm,
health, all your inspections, your general service costs, rent costs, everything like that. You have to kind of grow to fit your market. And
yeah.
something over the last 2 years since we've opened that I've learned is that you have this massive expanse of almost 2 million people here in our valley, and you set into this, and it's like, well, I can make as much as I can with what I have and who I have, and that's what you
Yeah.
can produce. But you need to make X amount in order to be able to cover those simple things like your rents, your permits, your licenses, and so on. So yeah, it's so interesting, but yet somehow, like, we're sticking together, we're all pushing ahead, and
Yeah.
it's nice to see as a community that we can actually do that when times are hard like this.
Yeah. So anybody out there again who's thinking about getting into opening a meadery, if you're not already versed in the realm of small business management, community college classes, uh, PhD level classes, anything. I mean, if you want to go get your
Hmm.
MBA, that probably would only be beneficial to you in the
Absolutely.
long run.
Yep. No, I mean,
Uh,
everyone's background's different, so don't be afraid to
mm.
step out and figure it out.
And it's always interesting for me to see the juxtapositions between the different ways that mead makers choose to go to the commercial route. There are the cats that
Yeah.
go, and before I even get into this, I want to say thank you, and maybe the people watching this don't realize, but Tom here telling us how much money he's putting into his meadery is not a common thing, especially when it's figures that high. A lot of mead makers
Right.
just kind of hold that close to the vest because for personal reasons or otherwise. But the cats that spend the six figures or more into investing into a meadery and commercial meadery and being successful like yourself, versus the cats that um, are still brewing in their 5 gallon carboys on a commercial scale out of like
Right.
their
Right.
garage or a very small business, and they have minimal. It goes to
Yes.
show that you can be successful on either scale with proper business planning, business management, financial management,
Mhm.
and you know, let's all be honest. There's a sheer bit of luck that goes into a lot of this too, between like location,
Absolutely.
clientele. So, but if you try and you do some research and do some education, and being in Las Vegas, stack those bets as best as you can in your favor,
Yeah.
you can be successful.
Yep. And then, like you said, it's taking the time, being prepared, doing the homework. I mean, that's actually, we were talking about like 2019, 2020 is, I had about 2.5 months off, working on the strip for one of the casinos
Oh,
during the pandemic. And so that became my job for those times was just
Yep.
8, 9 hours a day, sitting on the computer, sending emails for estimates, reaching out for wholesale numbers, trying to figure out permit costs, general constructions,
Yeah.
tables and chairs, glassware, and label costs, and everything as much as you could possibly prepare to put forward a proper business presentation. That was just my full-time job for that time. So, yeah, you have to take the opportunity, but it does take I mean, I will say it was many, many, many hours. And, even then it can only be so accurate because the world changes right around you. So
Oh
don't
yeah.
dishearten if things change. Just give yourself some preparation and, and give yourself the knowledge you need to move forward, I think is really the best. I think anybody
Yeah.
who owns their own business can tell you is that there's nothing that doesn't get fixed. You don't have a problem, you don't address it. Just when something comes up, it's your job to handle it. And it's the same thing when it comes to starting a business, where there are going to be unexpected aspects, and expect the unexpected. And I like to always tell people, I'm like, learn to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yep. It's like that when you take on anything that's, um, lack of a better term, a money pit. You got to be
Yeah,
uncomfortable with get comfortable with that
yeah,
uncomfortable feeling of spending more money than you want to, spending more money than you've ever spent
oh yeah,
before, buying things and looking at things that like, man, again, had 2019 me looked at my current self, I would have been like, you're absolutely crazy. Now you're looking at, your $400 DENS, ABV calculator, like
yeah.
that was a solid investment.
No, and it's like like I've heard a lot of other guys on your podcast or on our talks here have been
Yeah.
that they said the same kind of thing, with that the process here, and the way of this is we all kind of start as home brewers and we move into something that's new. I mean, I still have a little piece of paper that's framed from my wife that says, I promise on this date, I promise I will not clutter our kitchen or dining room with any more bottles of mead. That
Oh,
I got as a gift for our grand opening from her. So no, like it does, and it's such a fun thing, and it's so unexpected. But I think if you can learn to really, I guess, enjoy the challenge of what it is, which is, I think, what I've learned to do the most is enjoy the challenge, expect the challenge,
yeah.
but enjoy it. There's all new opportunities. I mean, I'm terrible with electrical, and when I got to work with like submersible motors and pumps and things like that, it's like,
Yeah.
well, we're gonna wrap it with duct tape and cross our fingers and see if it turns on or if it
Yeah.
goes on fire or whatever it might be. And you move forward, and again, yeah, it's what many I think would look at. It's somebody asked me once, "Is this a stressful thing?" And I told them,
Yeah.
"It's not the most. It's not the most stressful job I've had, but it has the most stresses. There's a million
There you
little
go.
things to be concerned about, but if you have a system down, you have good employees to work under
Yeah.
you and with you. All those become so much fewer, and then it just
Yeah.
allows you to focus on what's really a task. So, it's adaptation, but it's just putting in the right systems and the right people to help you move forward and be able to do what you can as best possible.
I don't know what now from reading online. You have your background is in culinary and restaurants and working in the food industry, for lack of a better
Yes.
overall term. Um,
Yeah.
and you mentioned homebrewing. So when did you start homebrewing, and how did that all get you into this commercial space? Because with a note like that framed from your wife, I mean, that's a very sweet gesture, but it kind of sounds like a framed what was once an ultimatum. You can
Yeah.
get your
Yeah.
meat out of my damn kitchen, or you can stop making meat in my house.
Yep. Yep. Oh no, I mean, believe me, the day that there were no more jugs in the house, there was like pretty much a celebration. But no, I basically, so I was fortunate enough. I worked for several years at Caesar's
Oh,
Palace. So I worked there initially, starting using my degrees in criminal justice and psychology to work as part of the overall investigations team for the security division. And through the odd circumstance of the occasional employee drinking a little too much for work, I got to meet a lot of the restaurant industry people and had cut my teeth doing some light bartending through college and things like that.
Whoa.
So I got brought on and got to be part of the opening team at Hell's Kitchen, the original first of the Gordon Ramsays in the United States. That was
Look at
just the Hell's
you.
Kitchen one. So yeah, it was pretty great, and the atmosphere was fantastic. You know, we had a lot of. I got to work shoulder to shoulder with some of the best bartenders in the country, probably the world. And it was an amazing atmosphere. We were given tools and the opportunities to use what we needed and the products around us to learn and expand. And
Yeah.
that's what kind of led me into Mead, actually, is I was trying to devise a cocktail that was going to use bourbon and would be similar to a martini, a little stronger, but have a little more appeal to the female palate. Typically, you know, like you want something, you have your Cosmos, things like that they're strong, but they're not exactly, you know, fruity. So I was looking for a fortified wine other than your traditionals, your Lillettes or your, you know, like vermouths, anything like that.
Gotcha.
And I was diving through an old sommelier textbook, and there's a little 2-paragraph blurb on mead, and I was like, oh, duh, honey wine and honey and bourbon are a match made in heaven. So
Yeah.
I started making some cocktails with that, and in that atmosphere, you know, you're not told to, but you're definitely inspired to learn and grow. So I had never made alcohol myself, and all they ever kind of teach you is sugar and yeast equals CO2 and alcohol. And I'm like, you know, something tells me people selling $3,000 bottle of wines, it's not that easy. So yeah, I took it upon myself that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to challenge that. That's all there is to it. Like, oh no, it's just that. Like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, so actually, I was lucky enough to have one of our chefs who went on to actually really great things. He was a home brewer, a beer brewer as well, and he had just said, "Well, you're already screwing around with mead, and you know it's going to cost you maybe $60. Go to this place, this homebrew store, and I'll take care of you." And said, "Sure." I get to experience the actual magic of fermentation and see it in front of me rather than just the
Yeah.
products that produce down the line. And yeah, it was amazing. And I was just instantly like taken away with the process. And then I got to try some commercial meads, different flavors, and you know, melomels and you know, wonderful, uniquely spiced ones and barrel aged. And I saw that essentially it was my answer to my choice of drink when I got off of work, which would have been a cocktail. And after doing it for 9 hours and you don't feel like making another cocktail for yourself,
Right.
mead was perfect. So it really became my drink of choice just based on that alone. So yeah, it grew from a curiosity, an ingredient, to a curiosity, to a choice, to an
Yeah.
obsession.
Yeah. I would say the obsession on the highest caliber possible, to where you're spending money to make your hobby, like, I mean, serious money
Yeah,
to make your hobby possible. But like you said, it's really cool because if you have people come in and obviously I'm assuming they're, you know, informing you that they've come in from the strip, or that they're, you know,
yeah,
they're
from out
visiting from
of
out of
town.
town.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that has to be a really cool and unique experience, because I imagine all meaderies get that to some degree, but probably not quite to the degree that you get, unless you're, you know, somebody like maybe Superstition or something. But I
Right,
mean,
right, right.
those guys are on a caliber, you know, up above everybody else.
You know what? Well,
What?
I'll tell you what, TK. It's, you know, even this community. Like I often, I mean, I always tell people about Superstition because they're part of like one of the first meaderies that I visited, and
Yeah.
we often get a lot of people coming in here who,
Have,
you know, are either from the Superstition area or pass through, where they'll tell them, hey, there's a meadery in Las Vegas. Don't forget to stop there. So I mean,
yeah.
even in a community and having people like that, it's so nice to even have them consider us to be like, hey, you know, hey, there's Deadwood Meadery in Las Vegas. Don't forget to check them out when you guys go. You
Yeah.
know, it's a very humbling thing, honestly.
Yeah. I've never met Jeff, but everything I hear, he's a fairly legit guy. He doesn't, you know, he has Mead's best interest in his heart, in heart. You know, I mean, you
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to, you wouldn't be going around the world, advocating for the
Right,
brand
right.
the way you are, or the way he is, if you didn't have, the greater. I mean, yeah, I guess some people might look at it
Yeah,
as self-serving, but he's not doing it in a completely self-serving fashion. He's out there putting in so much work that, again, people who don't know what they don't know, this guy's doing ridiculous amounts of work.
right.
It, I mean, nothing I could do or any other Mead interview podcast, whatever could do. He's put Mead in front of more people than I almost hesitate to say Ken Tram.
Right. No, I think their distribution model definitely made it a more visible product. It's one of the
Yeah,
things that if it's not one of the traditionals you see, like your Chaucer's, Sky River, your Dansk Miods, like those,
yeah,
if there's anything beyond that, it's going to be a superstition, and then if not, it's going to be one of us, at least here. But so that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's even ingrained where people are like, okay, well, there's only a handful of places, liquor stores that sell mead, so let's go there. And even the larger ones will have just the most simple models like possible.
yeah,
So it's weird. It's very interesting introducing this beverage to Las Vegas, a very like forward-thinking drinking city, but at the
yeah,
same point trying to embrace like a modern take on an ancient beverage. And it's, I mean, I'm sure it's been discussed more than once, but the natural aspects of the buzzwords that are associated with selling something like mead, would be, or talk about that they're naturally gluten free, that it
yeah,
uses raw, at least we should hope, uses raw honey. In our
yeah.
case, we don't, we use spring water.
Nice.
Specifically, we actually use actual spring water for our water
Yeah,
bases. So these are all kind of things, we don't use artificial colors, artificial flavors, concentrates, anything like that, unless it's something as simple as a farm direct evaporative fruit concentrate for something that's out of season.
right.
That's about the most extreme that we do. Everything else we make in house. We make our own extracts using, vegetable glycerin or alcohol. I mean,
And being from
it's
the
these
desert,
cottage industries.
Mead is so much more water efficient than a brewery. I
Yeah,
mean, we're talking like exponentially more efficient.
absolutely. Yeah, it's, I think, that's the whole thing is we're not, you, we would expect it, but we don't use much more water than an average household does in a
Yeah,
month. So it's, and
yeah,
that includes cleaning out our tanks and everything
yep,
like that. But, it's just, it's not as necessary. And we do, of course, have things like droughts and our water level here, Lake Mead's not getting any more full. So yeah, it's getting lower and lower. When you start finding mafia clues from the 30s,
I
you start
was
worrying.
gonna say myself when they're finding stuff from Capone's days out there, it's pretty rough in the Lake Mead world. I remember
Yep.
driving over the dam when I
And
was a kid in the '90s, and it was at its peak. I mean, just you
yes,
felt like you could reach down
yeah,
and touch the water, and now it looks like, why do we even have a dam here? There's not even a river big enough to make a dam,
no,
especially one of
and
this
it's funny,
caliber.
right? And that's what I was gonna say is it's like it's synonymous and it's world famous and just everyone knows the different facts about the dam and it's very cool to see like
Yeah,
that too, because that's actually a big thing is where we're located is pretty much on the way to the Hoover Dam
right.
and the Grand Canyon. So we're on the road out of town
Yeah,
for most people who are heading out there. So it's nice that we do catch a bunch of people this way and that way as they're traveling to and from. And it's like, yeah, well,
yeah,
we get to have that. And, I mean, Lake Mead's nice, but you can keep going. There's other things too. Like
yeah.
the area's picked up a lot. We have, like the old town district of Water Street just up the street from us that was totally a revitalized original part of Old Henderson, which
Yeah.
also has two breweries. So it's like, yeah, I mean, this place is its own unique monster. I've lived in New York. I'm from New York. I lived in Boston, and
Yeah.
like now, like here in Vegas, and yeah, it's definitely its own unique monster.
Yeah. Like I said, I lived there for, again, just 1 year very shortly, and it was when I was pretty young. I think I was about 21, 22 when I lived there,
Yeah,
and it is unlike any other place I've lived. I mean, it has such a unique, and it feels like again, talk about cliches. It feels like one of those like really cliche things to say. This is like no place else in the world. But I mean, Las Vegas. Where
It's
else
true
in the
though.
world can you go and buy alcohol 24 hours a day? I can walk into a Walmart at 3 o'clock on a Sunday morning and buy a fifth of Jack
Yep.
Daniels if I wanted to, and
Yeah.
nobody's gonna bat an eye. And I can go to the gas station next door and see about 4 seats out of the 20 that they have of slot machines with somebody sitting at them.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm like, it's people don't realize how
It's
ingrained
wild,
it is in
man.
the community. I mean, the slot machines at the grocery stores with their little concierge desks, and you're like, oh yeah,
Everywhere.
sure. I got some leftover cash from groceries. Why not hit the reels a little bit? Like
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, no. I mean, some people do that for gambling. I decide to make a meadery, I guess. So
Ooh, man. Click clack, click clack.
yeah, yeah. It's no, but it's at the same point. Like I love to see like how this industry is in general, but also here in the city, our interactions are, I think, because we have a lot of different potential, a lot of different
Yeah.
growth. Like we're lucky enough to be part of the Southern Nevada Brewers Guild, so
Nice.
we're actually included, despite not making beer, with a lot of our brothers and sisters in
Guild
the
mates.
in the industry here in the valley. Yeah, like it's just and being parts of community like this, our local smaller distributors are very great and give us a lot of opportunities and really push us into the right kinds of places and the right kinds
Nice.
of markets that we want to be. So, yeah, it's well as scary as it seems, and as much as it takes to just take that initial step.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people around you who are experiencing the same things and going through a lot of the same steps that you would. And I
Yeah.
think that big part of that is that again, like Las Vegas used to just be the strip, and that was its whole identity. And I've moved here in 2010. So yeah, in the
Okay.
14 years I've lived here, it's amazing to see how much culture has grown, how much like the identity of Las Vegas, and this is a Las Vegas thing and a Las Vegas place for locals and for everybody. And
Yeah.
it's really amazing to see that, to go from where everything you wanted is on or around the strip to now there being so many small pockets of unique places that appeal to the local community at that same high caliber of service and
Yeah.
products.
Oh, you're making me
It's
making me all nostalgic, wanting to go back and revisit the Vegas. I mean, obviously to visit Deadwood, but I mean just to go back and visit town in general, man. It's
right.
like
Yeah,
I said, I know it
it's
sounds
unique.
cliche, but Vegas and that whole area is just it's a one of a kind unique experience. Even
Yeah.
from like I said, from Summerlin to Henderson and everywhere in between.
No, you're absolutely right. Like it's a very I mean, people laugh because it's we talk about traffic here, but it takes about at the most an hour to get from one side of the city to the
Yeah.
other, and
As long as you
everything
don't
is
got
relative.
as long as you don't have to go through the spaghetti bowl at like, 7:43.
Oh yeah. Yep, I know, and I happen to go past that every day. I live on the other side of town,
Oh,
so
do you
yep, I know
live
that
up in like the
experience.
Summerlin area?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. So for people who don't know, that's like basically going from the very most northern part of the Las Vegas Valley to Henderson, especially where he's at, almost on. I believe, if correct me if I'm wrong, that used to be the Boulder Highway.
Yeah, yep, yeah,
Yeah,
right around like it's
right.
a quarter mile east of buddy.
Yeah, so the Boulder Highway, which used to go out to which goes out to the dam, which used to be the Boulder Dam before they called it the Hoover Dam. So he's literally going
Right.
like diagonally almost across the entire length of the Las Vegas Valley. That is
Oh yeah, right through
quite a
down.
commute, my brother. Quite a commute.
Oh, it is. Especially people don't realize every day. Like, I mean, it's beautiful and I still appreciate it, but every single day I drive through basically downtown Las Vegas and through the strip and
Yeah.
then come out the other side and hope that nobody's trying to get off or there's no accidents on either side. But for a
Oh
small
yeah.
city, it makes commuting interesting. But yeah, no, Vegas is also like that's the thing that I like too. Is I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
if traffic's a little bad, there's a bunch of places to stop between here and there. You're never at a loss of somewhere to go. So
One of the places I used to work at was like probably right around the 50-yard line of where this Raider Stadium is at right now, too. I used to work over off of
Oh,
like right off of Industrial and Tropicana.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh
that
yeah,
is
I know the area.
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but holy cow,
Where-
man, this is quite the nostalgic trip for me. I'm loving it. Um,
I'm glad.
so n- y- eh, now you mentioned you're in this booze district down there. Where do you feel the majority of your customers are coming from? And I mean that like, do you feel that your customers are coming there for you? Do you feel you get a lot of overflow coming from like the breweries and distilleries? How would you
I think
estimate that that's stacking up?
I would say it's probably the best way to put it. I would say is I guess I would say probably about 80-20, like about 80%, come down because
For
no,
you?
no, I'm like 60. So yeah, actually 60-40 because
Ooh,
realistically, most of the time when people come down here, they're not stopping at one place. It's usually always at least one or
sure.
two. So, and I think that's just because we really push to support our neighbors a lot. So it's like, hey, did you hear whoever has a new beer? Did you hear the distillery just made a new cocktail menu? Hey, like, so
You guys support each other
usually people are coming for a
on the
beer.
row, so to
Right.
speak.
Right, exactly. So usually it's multiple stops. So we may at times be the initial reason to come down, but we're usually not the only. And
Yeah.
then I would say about I would say that about 40% of the time it's just direct, like, hey, I'm going to the meadery, this or that. Um,
And the other
but
time it's people heading to
obviously,
the district to drink.
yeah, we have a good we have
That's
a
good.
good crowd, and then yeah, no, it really is like it's a very strong community, which is fantastic, like super cool. We do our like about once or twice a quarter we do like a food truck pub like mania pub crawl where we have a different truck at each location and just kind of walk from one to the other, and everyone prepares something unique, and
Yeah.
it's great. Like and we're in an industrial area. It's literally industrial buildings. This is not like a quaint little village or I
Yeah.
have a car dealership right behind me out this window is a
Yeah.
car dealership, and directly across from me is an ocean spray factory.
Yep.
So, it's we're in an industrial sector, and it is absolutely like you would expect your cookie cutter industrial buildings. There's just this one little section of row that has all of these businesses on it.
With not
And
nearly enough
it's,
parking.
oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely. It's just the way it is, but
Yeah.
that's why it's unique. And even here, we even talk collectively as a group about, just in general, whether seriously or not, just prospects of, all going into purchase on some, like foreclosed building or,
Oh.
something like that, or even land, just because again,
Whoa.
as a group,
Yeah.
it's we realize that landlords are very restrictive here, and with the amount of money and time we've all put in and our times in business here, it should allow us a little freedom to pursue that to at least some extent,
Sure.
through loans and things like that. But and we're definitely not coming out of my pocket. My money came out of my 401k and equities in my house. So
Hopefully,
I mean, you make
hopefully
your.
we've recovered that a little bit.
Oh yeah, I did all that before the market went crazy. So yeah, we're good. But yeah,
Excellent. That's really
yeah.
cool though
So
that you
luckily,
guys have a community that of people that are willing to potentially even go in together like that.
yep, yeah. Like it's even our booze district. We're working right now to finalize things with the city and licensing and everything to create our own basically business that is the booze district. So more or less like a separate business we all basically would be a part of that would allow us to maintain like a presence on a website, be able to set up and book group events and treat it all together as its own entity for those purposes.
Yeah.
We are our own separate entities, but when we do events together, it would be very nice for us to be able to, have a pot to share from to say, okay, we made this off of tickets, da da da.
Yeah.
We want to reserve X percent for something for future, so we can do. And right now we'll have a couple of activities, food trucks, and each of the places having something unique. But it would be
Yeah.
nice because that'll give us room to do things like pumpkin carving or dunk tanks or any kind of
Right.
added activities. So yeah, we're very much like every owner here is very much that feels invested in what's going on here. Like we care. Like it's again, it's these, most of the owners here are
Yeah.
people who are, mom and pop started because of a love of and a passion for a product and really pushed it. And actually, two of our neighbors actually, I should be very honest. So we have that Craft House Brewery down the street, which is responsible for not only lowering our permit costs, but also to allow where a business can serve alcohol and not have to have gaming, which was a very, very big thing. Las
Ooh,
Vegas
that's fucking
Distillery.
huge.
Yes,
Again, anybody who's not from the area, that is monstrous.
yes, yes, it's gigantic. And
Holy
the
shit.
distillery is actually the ones who set, because the distilleries were the first ones in the city of Henderson. So they helped set the initial legislation, oh God, almost 14 years ago now, I want to say,
Nice.
for like just general alcohol legislation. And we're lucky enough that we got to have Vegas Valley Winery, which is just around the corner for us, set the legislation for wine. And there's certain restrictions and laws around that. So,
Yes.
I'm also able to stand on the shoulders of those who came before me just to be able to do what I can. And,
Yeah.
that also shows the real commitment to making a change at the government level to be able to explore and express what you want to produce and what you want to do.
Yeah. The last thing any business owner wants to do is have their passion killed by red tape.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
fortunately, it does that for so many people in one way or the other. Bureaucracy has a way to, um, pardon the pun or pardon the phrase, but step on its own dick all the
No,
time.
no. We deal with it all the time, and there's a lot of silly little things. It's we can't, like, you can't do it in the unincorporated county. You can't have a winery because they didn't copy and paste the word winery when they were copy and pasting the laws. So even though there's like this subset of how to operate a winery, there's not a definition for winery, so you can't open a winery there. And a lot of oddball stuff, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
again, these are all the fun little things that you learn, but they're hurdles that just further educate you on the
Yeah.
process and how to handle and maneuver.
Yep.
I'm down at the city, probably 4 or 5 times a year, and it's real easy, quick, friendly,
Yeah.
nice. Once you learn what you have to do and the processes, it's like, step A, B, C, and you just keep going. And
Yep.
as long as everyone gets their tax money, everyone's happy.
Again, another thing for aspiring mead makers. Uh, as the old adage goes, you attract more flies with honey than you do vinegar. When you're going down to the city in the county or whoever whom you have to deal with for these things, 99.9% of these people have zero idea what mead is,
Absolutely.
despite all your mead advocacy that you've done, whomever you are. The people working at the TTB, working at the state, working at the county, they don't know what mead is. Go in there, give them a little bit of education with a smile on your face, build a good reputation with them, find somebody in there who you can, you know, jive with, and I guarantee everything will go significantly smoother. Um, I've never opened a meadery. I did
Hmm.
have a distribution business in Arizona for a short period of time. And in those 2 years, I'll tell you what, dealing with the city, all you got to do, just be cool, and, and and everything will go significant. Like I said, significantly. I don't know how else to put it.
No, no, I think you're right. Like the city of Henderson here, this is where one of their 5 tourism areas, here in this booze district. And, even with that, I had probably 5 to 7 meetings at the city. I had
Ooh,
meetings with the direct counselors to explain what mead was, literally
yeah,
coming in suit and tie and bringing some bottles along and saying, this is what we do. This is the kind of packaging. Here's how we present it.
that's how
Not
you do it.
to going to regular counseling meetings where, it's like you see on TV where you're just, hi, calling this person, and someone steps up and then gives their opinion. So it could be
Yeah,
a 20-minute afternoon. It could be a 4-hour afternoon. But again, the city was very easy to work with once we made sure we had our ducks in a row. I said, okay, that we know what this is now, what you're planning on doing. And from there, it was just, okay, approved, absolutely. So it's, again, like you said, it's just be transparent, be open. It's not, I believe that thoroughly. It's like you were saying earlier, I don't try to disclose too much delicate information, but when it comes to general pricing and using this as an example, like I feel people should better off informed than, me being a little vague on the numbers. And yeah, absolutely. It's something that, until I was into the process where people, and other owners and professionals started opening up more about the information they had, not to say that it was gate kept in any way, but just, I think we all in the industry hear it, or would, regardless of what industry it is. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna open up my own whatever next in a few years or anything like that. We all hear it a lot, and
there's a lot of lip service out there.
Yep. And it's like, I know I started by reaching out and being like, hi, can I go and talk to one of the owners down here about just process and what I should do because I want to do this, and again, it was just reaching out to the person who did the PR for the booze district, who got me in touch with two of the owners who I got to sit down with, and despite their, which I now know exactly how busy schedule, sat down with me for like 2 hours, drank mead, talked, and these kind of things. Again, that's like gold. If you can find a community to be a part of, it's always going to benefit you. I feel like it's because even when we do our food truck events, there's no fees, it's we're sharing customers, we're sharing communities, and that's a big part of it. Is here we have our local community, we have our strip community, and it's about blending all those things that is our challenge now here in Las Vegas. But aside from that, like, you can see, it's amazing to see how much everybody works together. Like, it's a beautiful thing.
As much as everybody talks about, you got to think outside the box, come up with creative new ways to be able to bring in customers and be able to advocate for the brand, for lack of a better term. Sometimes thinking inside the box, it will definitely do you a world of service. Like you said, put on a suit and tie, look your best, present the best for the brand, go out there, put your best foot forward. And it's something could be as simple as, something as easy, well, I'll say it's easy, but something equivalent to like a job interview. Go out there, you're applying for a job for your mead to be able to have a job here in your county or your district or whatever it is. Go out there, do them the service.
Right.
And, it.
You're right. Like it's you're selling your product by selling yourself. Especially in these cottage industries. Like, I typically am the one manning stations at any events we have. I make sure that even as the owner, I've made it a kind of rule for myself and for the business is that I work currently a shift a week just to make sure that I never lose touch with the point of what I'm doing. And I think that with the point where if I can't do that at least once or twice a month, then that's as big as we can go. Because I think the second that is lost, that touch is lost at the highest level, there's no way it can't affect that below it. And I always want to know what's going on with my customers and how the room flow feels, and what kind of labor am I asking of people when I'm not here, and things like that, and trying to make sure that I give my employees opportunities to not only succeed but grow and expand and get comfortable and treat it as their own, so
and have a free time of their own.
Absolutely. And it's like we're a really small operation for what we do. We're two person looking for our third person to be able to service this 1.7 million person valley. And it's a lot, and I don't know what a short week is anymore, and that's kind of
a short week is about 76 hours.
Right. Where I'm like, how come? But again, 40 used to feel like a death sentence, and at
now
the same
40
point,
would
like
be
I wake up every day. Right. And but instead it's like, 40 was difficult. Now these 70 plus, and you're like, you know what, like, all right, we're going to go in, we're going to do some work today. If some shit shows up, then we're just going to deal with it and get back on
Yep.
track with what we were doing. And I think I tell people, I think a lot of it's just determinism. You know, we're just understanding that you know, just like as you grow up and you realize, wow, man, like our parents really didn't have it together, did they? Like, no, it's the same thing with, I would say, almost any business,
Click, clack,
small, medium,
click,
or
clack.
large.
Roll
Yeah,
them dice,
you
see what
don't know. You
happens.
don't know, right? And that's the
Yep.
fact is, you know, I think a big thing is you know a hubris of like understanding that you know these things are there's so many things beyond you and above you that can you know affect you. But at the end of the day, like you take ownership of what you do. You come in and you just make it a part of your journey. Like you know, little things become so much more valuable to you. It feels like I feel like you know if I wasn't getting an award or a this or a that or a big raise or something, I didn't really care. We're here, you know, it's something as simple as a really nice, like, in all honesty, just something as simple as a nice compliment from somebody across the counter, or, you know, just finding a new, quicker, easier way to do something so we're not breaking our back. Like these all little victories feel like they have so much more weight. And it's not just the ownership part, it's because I understand the purpose, what each part serves, and another thing with transparency is the same thing I do with my guys. Like we do this because of this, not we do this because I said so. It's not. This is not you know. I mean, yes, I still at the end of the day, I'm the one responsible for my employees, their actions, and what they do. But you know, I want again, it's about making them a part of it and having them just kind
You
of
let
be
them
into
have
this.
a vested interest in that end result, so to speak. You bring
Yeah.
them on to be you're not just an employee, you're a part of something that's, you know, what's the term? The sum is greater than the
Yeah.
whole of its parts, or
Yep.
the whole is
Yep.
greater than the sum of
No.
its parts.
Yes, yeah. And I mean, like, I can say that in the 2 years we've been open, I'm very happy because the people who aren't with us anymore moved on to the next step in their lives. You know, they went from mead tenders and part-time assistants to their full-time jobs in medical fields and, you know, and design and this and that. And this was just you know, it was nice to be a part of that
Their
process,
journey.
allowing them, right, and giving them a place that, you know, secure and, you know, a comfortable place to work from while they were doing that. You know, I think, you know, I'm not certainly the one who made them pursue their dreams or gave them the keys, but I am happy that the people we've had have, you know, gone on and just grown from this.
You're happy to have been a stepping stone in their journey.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate all the people who've helped me get to where I am, and you know, even if it's something as simple as like not being a stress in their life, one less stress in their life other than having to show up and do what they do
Right.
best. You know, like it's, you know, I think there's a lot of value because one thing I will retouch on talking about like where you come from in the industry is I went from bartender to meadery owner. There was no desk job in between or
One step
anything like that.
to the
So
other. That's a big leap.
it is, but it's also like I have not like, you know, I think that the thing that I highlight the most is our service and our customer service. Like I think we're nearly, you know, I think we're unparalleled in that, and I think that I owe much of my success, 90% of it, to my employees. I mean, they're the best, and they've all, you know, they've all put their passion forward and are very expressive, and it's again like those are those little luck factors, those X factors that are so impactful. And you know, like I said, I am very lucky and very fortunate to be where I am. Yeah,
I
100%.
love how you put that X factor, that je ne sais quoi, that characteristic that you can't define, but somebody has, that allows them to become, you know, a greater part of a greater cog in your machine, so to speak. Scotty
Oh
Las
yeah.
Vegas is saying he would love to be right in the middle of your Tom Troy sandwich.
Yep, I'm sure Troy will appreciate that too. He's my second. He's my right hand. So he's my main mead maker and my
Awesome.
backup for everything else. But yeah, no, we're and the thing is you know, again, like I'm only able to do it because of these guys. Like they work hard and stuff, and right now I just have one guy who's temporarily out, and we need more so we can grow really at this point.
Yes.
you know, it's time. I've been having to spread my wings and leave the coziness of the walls of the concrete walls of the meadery, but you know, it's appropriate for us, and I think it's a great thing that like we're at that point. I mean,
Yeah.
I still feels weird to be a boss. It's not I'm like, oh, don't call me that. It's weird. Like, and
I
I don't
always
know.
take those like air quotes
So,
around that. It's like I'm the boss because like I make the like X decisions or whatever, but like we're all
right,
people wise, we're all people together.
right. Like, I mean, there'll be the guys that'll be like, hey, da da da, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, like, I got to learn it still. I haven't dove into the forums or something like
Yeah,
that. And it's like, no,
exactly.
I'm just like if it comes to like actually like something that's we're doing that's different. But if it's just like, hey, are we getting this or that? Well, I don't know. I
What are
didn't
we
check the
doing?
pricing yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't check the shipping pricing yet. I don't know.
You go
So,
check that
you
price and
know,
get back to me and let me know.
yeah, that's, you know, we have a good time, and I think, you know,
Very
we
cool.
make, like I said, more modern style. I would call them meads, like, you know, or you know, filtered very like from dry to really off dry into sweet and a little bit of everything in between.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's just a fantastic like thing, because it's now we were able to introduce like a whole new form of drinking to Vegas, which is starting to really take its own kind of thing. Working on, you know, getting into dessert menus at restaurants
Yeah.
and being used in cocktails behind the bar and different things like that. The city gives us those stepping stones to work with.
Man, it's got to feel good to have a city. And again, I think if with the right approach, most cities will probably be in the same category, but have a city that's willing to work with you and help you cross those finish lines to be able to be, a successful business. Because at the end of the day, going back to what you're saying about permits and showing up with suit and ties at meetings with city councils and board members and woody
Yep.
woo and whatnot. Um, you got to remember, at the end of the day, these folks are looking to make money just like you are. And if you can present yourself
Right.
as a look, I'm here to make money. You're here to make money.
Right.
Let's make money together. In not such a roundabout way. Man, I think most city officials would be really hard pressed to turn you down after some well thought out presentations like that.
It definitely takes a lot of patience, you know, and
Yeah.
that's the thing, is just because it's like whenever you deal with the government, you know, it's sorry, yeah, it's just changing so my phone doesn't die.
Oh no, you're
No,
good.
but I'm like, but no, basically, so the way that I look at it is, you know, that's all the cost of doing business and everything. All of this is more or less a learning
Yeah.
situation, regardless of who you are. You know, man, like it's kind of, you know, is this exactly what I expected when I set out? Like, no. Am I thrilled with where I am? 100%. So yes, but I think a
Sure.
lot of it's just really, you know, what you want to do.
Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
definitely just, or at the 1 hour mark here. Do you have a few more minutes to continue the
Yeah.
conversation? I always try to at least give people the prompt because I never know what people have planned for the day.
No, you're good, and no,
Awesome.
I tend to talk a lot, so don't worry. I'm like mostly my fault, probably.
Well, it's good that you tend to talk a lot because people are here to listen to you talk. So, um, like I said, so you opened back in, you commercially opened in August of 2022, but you've
Yep,
been home brewing, or at least on the internet wise, since like about 2 years before that, about since sometime in early mid 2020. And I think I've been
that was
following
a
you since about May of 21, maybe about a year after your guys' opening. And I'm really curious to
yep,
know if you're going to bring back some of them early homebrew flavors, because I put in on some of them early giveaways, um,
yeah.
like for the Cirque was it Cirque du
Start
Vin?
the van.
Yeah, Cirque du
Yeah,
Vin,
yeah. The cotton
the
candy, great.
cotton candy grape pie mint, and then also the Bowsette, that tart cherry peach. Now I know you had
So
the another
let's
castle
see.
come out, which was the barrel aged version.
There's a little there's the last homebrew batch of the Cirque du Vin right
Oh,
there.
this guy right down there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a little fella there.
Yeah.
That's some humble pie right over there.
Oh, okay. So there are some plans for some homebrew batches in the future, or
Oh
what
yeah,
were
no,
once homebrew batches to become commercial batches.
most are, or they're just new ones that I've come up with along the way. But like, yeah, pretty much.
The
I
Ratchet
think
Kid
I think
went
only
commercial.
yep, that one's been commercial. We've sent that out to a bunch of different bars.
Nice.
The Midnight Society is
The
our most
blueberry
popular.
vanilla one. Yeah.
Yeah, say thought we have what is it? Blackcurrant, vanilla, and pomegranate one. Like that one's been huge. Our blueberry Earl Grey with sage honey is
That was the
another one of
Midnight
our.
Society one, wasn't it?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one still have it in right now. It's super popular. We just made a chantilly cake inspired dessert one that I've been wanting to make for a
Ooh.
long time. Yep, that's we made our on orgeat and basically some vanilla and raspberries and blueberries, and it's wonderful and cakey and rich and delicious. And we just recently made a wild fermented mead, which was really
Oh.
fun. So we have a wild fermented pineapple, which is really nice.
Oh.
So trying to stretch
Yeah.
the envelope as much as I can. I typically that's kind of what it is. One of the things I love about doing this is I know that I have more ideas in my head than days in my life to execute them, and that's not a bad thing.
Hey,
Like it's
that's one of the in the term of problems. That's one of those ones they say it's a good problem to have.
100% absolutely,
Yes.
yeah. It's unbelievable, and again, like you said, there's so much to explore with me. Everybody has their own styles and their own preferences, and so I mean, I like getting out of my comfort zone, and I like diving into things I enjoy. And
Yeah.
most of what I make is I make for me and hope that everyone else enjoys it.
What's your
It's something that it's a personal product.
what's your favorite? What's your personal favorite style?
So I
I'm
like
a sugar belt
uh,
junkie. I love the big berry bombs, the sweeter. I want that thing to give me diabetes afterwards. Like I want my feet to
I
be
like
swollen up and almost ready to be cut off.
yeah, I like my rich sporty ones like for that purpose, and then I really enjoy like drier fruit forward sessions.
I've
Um,
been finding myself like drawn to those within the past year or so. Just the drier, the better. Like I really want to get the nuances of the dry ones.
yeah, Sap House, because I went to school up in New Hampshire.
Oh, there
Sap
you
House
go.
had yeah they when I've gone back and stuff they have like 4 packs of their cans at some of the grocery stores in my college town, and I'm like, whoop, we're getting those.
Yeah, Matt and
Um,
Ash are some
yeah,
fucking amazing mead makers.
oh, and that's what I mean is I talk to other owners out here, and or it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm in their bottle club, and I'm like, yeah, I would be, I figured, yeah, it's fantastic. I mean,
Yeah, I
and
would be
that's
if they shipped
and
out of the
again,
state.
and again, but that's one of those things where you look and you're like, yeah, they're in a rural area and kind of separated even from the tourist zones in New
Yeah.
Hampshire,
When
and
you
at the
say rural
same
New
point, like,
Hampshire, I mean, we're talking about a state that's almost already 99% rural as it is.
yeah, yep, yeah. No, I mean it was a
Holy
culture
cow.
shock moving from a city to there, but
Yeah, I would
like
imagine.
but it's one of those things where, yeah, like I mean, everything they make that I have had, I have absolutely loved, from like kombucha style to the oatmeal raisin cookie. Like, I mean,
Ooh, that sounds good.
it's
I haven't
again
had that
like
one.
even in this industry, like going over and talking to the owners over at Batch Mead, they're like, oh yeah, no, we're club members over there. I was like, yeah, of course, other side of the country, but it doesn't matter. We all know what we like.
Yeah.
We still, I mean, I would be shocked if any real like passionate
Yeah.
meadery owner doesn't still look to try new meaderies when they travel. I
Oh,
mean,
and
kind
well,
of
that was going to be one of
stop
my
me,
questions I asked you. That's one of the questions I have in my list of questions to ask you is how often do you try other people's meads? You mentioned batch mead. Now, as a, not to kind of step on toes, but I personally believe Derek is one of the most slept on mead makers. Like batch mead, they make some of the, like, their sessions
Yeah,
are just phenomenal. they're still, again, in that same realm of just
They're great
exceptional
work.
most of the time. Um,
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
they
No,
don't get
they're
the credit that they should.
no. No, and then being part of the Temecula and the emerging wine country there, the stuff that they're doing with like grapes, where
Yeah,
they're doing like rosé styles and things like that. It's
yeah,
beautiful, and I love what they're doing with it. It's absolutely fantastic because you have to
yeah,
use what's around you the best of your ability. For us, it's mostly sand and sagebrush, but I mean, even we make do.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. Plus, Derek and Danielle are just some of the sweetest, just awesomest people to hang out with. They're just great people, much like yourself. So I'm sure you guys get along
it was really
well.
nice to meet them. Yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
super nice to meet them. And
Oh
anytime
yeah.
we go back, we stop in. Every time we tend to go to San Diego a lot, go visit Lost Cause, and go find our spots on the beach and everything. And we'll stop in and
Yeah.
visit them in Chevy Cheek, and just go say hey.
Yes.
So no, and it's then it's again that's another example of like there's two meaderies in the same industrial
They
center. It's a little
almost
industrial
share a
park,
wall.
but
They basically
yep,
share a corner of a wall. Like
yeah,
this guy's in this pad, this guy's in this pad, and they share like this corner wall. I mean, where else can you
yeah.
go
You
to
can walk.
two separate meaderies within walking distance of each other that are both like damn near exceptional places?
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I mean is it's one of those things where like I can't stop it, and it's become part of the expectations of travel when I travel with my wife, where it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, like sometimes she'll even do it before. She'll be like, I was looking and I was seeing if we could go there. Also, there's a meadery over here, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll go. All right, sure. Like,
Yeah. The fact
pretty
that
easy
you
to
have
please. So
the fact that you have Lost Cause, Chubby Cheeks, Batch, and Honey Pot all within less than 100 miles of each other, like holy
oh yeah,
crap! And Deadwood to be, I mean, you're not very much farther away from those guys. And I mean, you're in that same region as far as I'm
yeah,
concerned. And again, Superstition, Scale and Feathers from Arizona. You guys have
right.
that corner of the Southwest locked down pretty good. You got some legit meaderies all within a day's drive of each other.
It's funny because it's like it almost follows Route 66 in a weird way. Like
It
like
kind
the
of
way it's
does.
kind. Like if you look as it kind of spots along, like you have you have Prescott and Phoenix, and then you have here, and then we have
Yep.
and we're just kind of following that general trend down to
Yep.
Temecula, and like so it may not be the direct route, but I mean it seems like it's following that at least on the southern
It.
trend because we have I mean
Yep.
you have your northwestern, but like it feels like there's a big gap between like central Southern California, Nevada, until you get up to Oregon,
Portland.
Washington. Where there's
Portland.
just
There's
yeah, yep,
there's a
and
handful of spots
Seattle's
in
great
Southern
stuff.
Oregon, but there's a handful of spots in like the Napa area. You got McGee's Mead. You've got there's that Hyde Run out on the coast.
Yep.
But Hyde Run does like all exclusively champagne style, bone dry, 18% plus. Um, McGee's Mead, much more of a traditional
Yeah.
meadery, mini
Yep.
flavor profiles. And then who's the other cats that's out there? Strad Meadery. They're
Oh
in
yes, yes,
in
yeah.
that Napa. And then you got Black
That's
Rabbit once
right. That's right.
you get Black Rabbit once you get up to Reno and whatnot. But I mean,
Right.
those four
Exactly.
basically lock down that upper San Joaquin, Stanislaus County type of
Hmm.
area. And outside of that, you don't, again, like you're saying, you don't have anything. So you got SoCal, you got this tiny little band in northern central California. And then not until you get to like Portland and
Pretty
north,
much.
do you
Yeah.
start getting like,
Yeah.
there's a handful that are peppered in southern Oregon, but some of them are closed and some of them are opened and then closed again.
Right.
Yeah. So that is like I said, you
Oh,
guys have that southern corner locked down and are doing the meat world a gigantic service.
no, I appreciate that because I mean I think one of our most important jobs here, especially like again Las Vegas tourism, lots of tourists and a lot,
Yep.
and being part of this booze district as well is a lot of people's first times. And
Yes.
I the number one thing that we push is an experience. Like that is our number one, whether you're coming back, but especially when it's your first time, is we try to create like a memorable experience. It's
Yeah.
something that you get asked on every job in a food industry. What's the most memorable dining experience you've had, and things like that. And so we
Yeah.
try to create with what we have in our small corner here, a unique experience. That's why like our meads go from very light and dry all the way into deep, deep, rich. And
The
you just
best ones always do.
yeah, and I mean, like we do seasonal stuff, slushies in the summer, hot mold ones in the winter time for the short winter we have, and
That's
when
mold,
it's about 60.
MULLED, mold, not mold, MOLED for you
Yes.
non-mead junkies out there.
Yeah,
Like
so
mold, like a
so
cider style.
yes. Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like, but again, it's about trying to be creative. We've done,
Right.
we've done lots of riffs and like pseudo cocktails and everything like that. But
Yes.
it's fun
And
and experimental.
well, I think that's the way that the meat industry is leaning. A lot of people, I say a lot of people, but people ask me, where do I think the meat industry stands? Where is it going versus where it's been? And I feel like I've only we're talking about the glacier of meat here. I'm still at the above water surface line, well above the surface line of the waters. And I can see, a lot of places went from just being meaderies selling basically their home brew on a commercial scale to actually trying to
Right.
design mead profiles that fit, popular trends of, drinking profiles, be it from beers or wines or otherwise, to now
Hmm.
places going out and specifically there's a handful of places, seemingly yourself included, that are cocktail oriented.
Yeah.
And I would love to see more places like that. I truly think that's going to be the way to draw in the um, the Gen
Yeah.
Z drinkers. Everybody sees the articles out there from Forbes and Wall Street or whatever, drinking's on the decline, this, that, and the other thing. How do we make drinking
Right.
more
Right.
appealing? Make it appealing to a younger audience. What is a younger audience not like? Harsh alcohol flavors. Give them something
Oh
sweet.
yeah.
Give them something fruity mixed to drink.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then the ebb and flow will turn around to where the hardcore people will come back, and the people who want the big dry traditionals, those extra dry mellow the wine drinkers.
right. Yep.
You focus on the one, everybody else,
Yeah.
very much like a field of dreams type of focus. Find where your niche is, and then kind of expand from there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you want to find your people, and it's like you're saying like the concepts and these types of flavors and everything. Like they're again, it's just like we joke around here, and or at least I do, and like when people come up and they'll come up and they'll be like, I've never had this, and I was like, have you had like a seltzer or anything like that? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so like when you're done dating high school girls and you want to like get them an appropriate beverage so you can get like a session mead, and and of course it's very tongue in cheek, but the concept is basically this is that approachable thing that you really want.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we often deny ourselves things because of perception. Ooh, I'm an adult, I shouldn't be drinking something that's sweet or fruity or this or that. But then you look at cocktails, and what are they? They're often sweet or fruity or
Designed
rich
to
or dense
mask or
or
enhance the flavor, not profile the flavor of the
right.
alcohol. The alcohol becomes secondary in a cocktail. That's the entire purpose of a cocktail.
And I can't tell you, working professionally, how many times I've had servers come up to me in the service well and be like, "Can you put this particular drink in a different glass?"
No.
Why? Well, it's because it's for a man. Okay. Well, I mean, look at the glass. I'm like, it looks like the appropriate glass for this drink. Well, I mean, can't you just put it in like a regular like rocks glass?
Can't you put that in a highball? Come on.
And my answer usually is going to be like who's insecure, you or the customer? Because either way, this is the drink this is the glass for this, and
Yeah.
it's the same way where I'm not going to serve you soup. I'm not going to serve you soup on a plate. So no, and it's like I'm pretty stubborn. I admit that. I definitely admit that. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I feel like when it comes to presentation, service, all those things, like you have to stand by it. And
Yeah.
yeah, like that's why it's like our glassware, our serving temperatures, everything we try to do is in a way that makes it comfortable. And we found like even a lot of women really enjoy the sessions, and that's fantastic. Like that's fantastic because when you break down the mead industry as a whole with sales, we look and say it's about, I think, what is it, like something like 80, isn't it like 80-ish
I'm
percent like men
terrible with
from like
numbers.
35 plus.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm pretty
yeah,
sure it's like something like that. Like the industry, like 80% as a whole, like men from the age of like 35 to 60 or whatever. We're here, I don't know the age groups, but we're about 44% women and 56% men. So,
sure.
you know, it's split much more down the middle because the traditional mead drinkers, men who typically
Yeah,
go towards the richer, deeper, like ones like you, yourself, and I, like they're still out there. But now this is becoming a whole new thing for the female segment
right.
of the drinkers here in Las Vegas, and that's where we've made a lot of growth and grown a lot in just perception of mead is like having these sessions on tap at all these beer bars, but these craft bars
Yeah,
where people know what they're selling.
yeah,
And, you know, and that's the big thing is like now this is becoming something where this is very approachable for men, for women. It's, you know, it's something that can be
for
taken to
everyone
a
over
casual,
21.
right. And it's right. And right. And it can be a casual experience. It can be, you know, a more formal experience. Like you
Yeah,
can treat it how you want. And I think, you know, it's again, like that's my personal appeal. Like
yeah,
I love it. I get to be a mad scientist back here and I get to go out front and I get to talk to people and be the
yeah.
bartender again and do things like that. And, you know, at the end of the day, like all I ever wanted to do is work a job that I enjoyed for until I retired. That's so,
For a
you
fair
know,
wage.
I left that. Yeah. You know, I left one of those cherry positions that most people don't leave to
Yeah,
do this because, you know, at the end of the day is, like I said earlier, I don't want to be bored. And this
yeah,
is not, this is certainly not going to let me get bored.
yeah. So we had a comment from Remedies. I'm not quite sure how they pronounce it. Said we're also in California, up by Sequoia, Kings Canyon National Park, true center of
Oh,
California.
dang.
Come visit next time you're in Batch or Lost Cause. Now, to be fair, that's a long drive from Lost Cause. We're talking it's a 12-hour drive, or maybe like a 8-hour drive from like San Diego to San Francisco or north of there. But I like
Right.
their
Oh,
heart. I
yeah.
like their passion and where they're at, and
Yeah.
I have seen them online before, and I feel I was in that area, and I feel terrible for not giving up, getting up there. And then with Jimmy says, female drinkers, where you at? Jimmy, they are not following TK and drinks. Although to what Tom was saying, in that same vein of, you know, the increase in female drinkers or the female patrons, Mead, okay, or however you like. In the female drinker, I have seen a significant number of viewers growing in the female categories versus the male categories, where it used to be this like large gap between, you know, in the age range from, you know, they age them weird on YouTube and stuff or and Instagram from
Right,
like
right.
18 to 24, you know, 25 to
Yeah, yeah.
34 or whatever. Like in every category except for the 55 and over category. Apparently, 55 and over women drink nearly as much and are very interested as much as men are. All those categories
Yeah,
have been
yeah.
growing to become equal, which tells me a lot
Right.
that either, you know, it's either women are becoming more comfortable in their drinking or becoming more exploratory in their drinking, something. But it ultimately means that they cannot be counted out. You know, you have to be including um,
Yeah.
anybody who's coming into your bar and having those cocktails that mask, for lack of a better term, intentionally, but for that mask the harsh alcohol flavors that some
Right,
people
right. Absolutely.
have. And I, I hate using that term because it implies that the meat is like a lower quality, but
Right.
anybody who can blend a flavor into another flavor and create something, again, back to what we said earlier, create a sum that's greater than a whole that's greater than the sum of its parts. You're doing the
Right.
brand a service because you're creating a positive connotation in that person's brain for what meat is, and that's one of the reasons why I always say that
Absolutely.
I think it's a lot harder for um, people who have had poor meads in the past to come back to drinking than it is to do a positive service to mead initially. I
Yes.
get shit for it for saying people, hey, if you're not gonna sell quality mead, don't even bother opening a commercial meadery because we're already
It's
fighting an uphill battle as it is. And I
I've
think a lot of people want me to qualify what good mead is. I don't think it needs to be qualified. You know,
no.
it's
There's a meat
I,
for everyone. It's just a matter of them finding it.
I even hesitate to qualify that as something I would agree with, because I think there's a lot of commercial meads out there that are unfortunately people that are taking advantage of an ignorant buying class. Maybe ignorant's not the right word. A naive buying class.
Oh yeah,
This is what
yeah,
mead is, and we're going to sell you the best quality mead that there is out there. And they're selling 750 bottles for $12, and they're saying it's, you know, a full body cherry mead, and it's the same color as, you know, a star thistle fucking traditional. It's water white
yeah.
colored, and they're telling me this is a cherry mead. Like, those cats can pound sand.
No, no, and I mean that's the thing is people don't realize too, where it's like your fruit costs can be as much as your honey cost, which is your biggest driving factor in how much
Yeah.
it takes us to sell the product at a specific price. So
Yep.
some people will be like, well, why is your traditional like $27, but this other one's like $36? I'm
Right.
like, well, because it has first of all hard to source fruit. It is 100% juice.
Yep.
We're using 4.5 pounds of honey per gallon, plus
Yep.
God knows what else in secondary after that. And we're using imported Madagascar vanilla beans, like 50 of them. So like all these kind of little things versus just the honey cost. I was doing a cost analysis on something recently, and it was like, yeah, no, the fruit made up like 53% of the overall
Yeah.
cost. Like that,
The
that includes
meaderies that
water,
I've
chemicals.
yeah, the meaderies that I've seen the most successful with their um, pricing are the ones that price all their bottles across the board the same price. They find a
Yeah,
median, probably a high median sweet point in their
yeah,
benefit, and rightfully so. That where they're
yeah,
gonna, yeah, we're gonna eat it on a couple of these bottles, but we're gonna kill it on a couple of these bottles too. And then of
yeah,
course you have your certain, say your $28 price point, and then your $35 price point. All
right,
bottles are
right.
this,
Yep,
BA special limiteds are this, and just let it be a
yep,
wash. That becomes, I feel, a lot more comfortable with people who are coming in to buy. They don't have to, well, that one I liked was this much, and the other one I
yeah,
liked was this much. So now I'm trying to, no, everything's either this much, or, maybe a few variances here and there.
yeah.
But
We're,
people start
we're able to do
failing
that.
from, you know, fear of too much choices.
No, and no, I mean, and I think like we do that with our sessions, our stills, and I think a lot of it has to do also with us being a little removed because
Yes.
our costs are going to be a little different because of either the timing, the format, or whatever the fruits that we need to
Yeah.
get out here in the middle of the desert.
Yep.
Definitely affects that a lot. So where it's like with the sessions where we're typically not going as heavy with ingredients, we want more light, crisp flavors.
Sure.
Those
Yep.
I can absolutely like. Those are easy. Yep, they're all this price for this size, this price for this,
Yeah.
and yeah, and the stills, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. Some of them I'm like, that would kill me. But we also, the same thing. Like when you distribute, you don't really make a ton. It's really for the
Yeah.
advertising, but still, we do it, and again, it's a big part of what helps translate that into money coming over the counter, which gets to keep, the
Yeah.
lights on and everybody,
Yeah.
and gives it a place. It's nice because I think, and I mean this is I'm one too, but like in a nice way, like I think a lot of people feel comfortable here. I try to create the most comfort I could in our tasting room, just so that
Yeah.
you walk in and you feel comfortable. It's not it's not too fancy. It's not a dive bar. It's just something, we have, I
Comfortable.
lowered my seating to put in like these beautiful big plush antique wood back couches and
Yeah.
things like that. Cause I would
Oh,
rather put, in a hardwood coffee table and, black, like all this kind of stuff. Like, because again, I would rather have an experience that means more than putting
yeah.
one more body in a seat. Like we should be able to service everybody and give them the same level. And then if you show up early, you get the fancy seats. Like it's just the way it is.
I think I'm going to label
And
this video TK and Tom's 101 class on how to make a successful meadery.
hey, look, 2 years in, we're not. I don't know if I can mark us yet, but I mean, I will say that
Yeah.
despite these past 2 years, the fact that we're still open and we're still in the black
Yeah.
and still continuing to grow, we're
There you go.
actually about about to expand into packaged sessions, so like bottled
Nice.
sessions.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm like, I can definitely say, yeah, it's I can't give everybody the best advice. I can just share what I know I've been through, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's tough running a place by yourself, and you always wish there were five more of you to
Yeah.
be, hey, I'm the boss of sales, and that's the guy's the boss of ordering, and this guy's the boss of cleaning, and
Yeah.
hey, we're just going to keep going. Like, that would be great, but it's the biggest learning process, and I think just being adaptable and being willing to learn
Yeah.
is like the key.
One of the other things I think a lot of mead makers would be um, what's the term, like would benefit from learning, and goes to the comment here from Misty Mountain Meadery. Says TK out here giving me shit for not using peanut butter. I interviewed David last week. Great cat. Go, anybody who's out there, go listen to the interview. There's a lot of really cool stuff in there. But he had mentioned he was doing a PB&J mead, and I asked him how he was doing the peanut butter. I believe he said he was some sort of PB extract or something. And I had suggested to him, I was like, how about doing something like maybe like an all natural peanut butter, suck up all the
Mm-hmm.
oil out of it. You can just use the natural peanut butter as the flavor. And
Yeah,
I'm sure it's going to be a bit more expensive than the extract flavor, but the 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 flavor versus quality versus price is going to be exponential. The price to the flavor for the extract is going to be, yeah, your price to
yeah,
flavor, but the price, yeah, it's going to be here for the real peanut butter, but your flavor
mm-hmm.
profile is going to be so much more true, so much more accurate. And yeah, you might have to
Yeah,
skim some oil off the top, so you don't want it to go rancid and that the other thing. But it's so much better to invest a little bit more money and significantly more sweat equity to get a better final product than it is to just try to cut corners. And I use that term. I'm not saying that's what he was looking at
no,
doing, but that's
yeah,
completely my term. Cutting the corners to get, the monetary stuff. That's why I have such a hard time producing as many. Like, I'm 4 years into doing this, 2.5 years into being a home brewer, and I'm still
yeah,
barely right around the 20 batch mark, because I can't justify putting subprime ingredients, costs,
absolutely,
anything into my meads, because it's only gonna hurt me in the end. It's gonna hurt the industry in the end as well,
absolutely.
because
Well,
I, I want I
no,
want to represent mead the best way possible.
no, I agree. And I'm going to do this just for effect here.
Yeah.
Uh, so what we do for our peanut butter mead is we
Yes.
actually get. So what we do is um, we get about what is it about? We get about 100 pounds of dry roasted, unsalted peanuts from by bulk from local grocery stores. Surprisingly enough, if you read the ones that have the wholesale bins of that you
Peanuts.
fill yourself with the little buckets, yep, they often will sell them if packaged at a discount even below what they're marked at,
Yep.
which is often better than your online services or anything like that. So what we do is we actually get those. They're roasted again lightly to release some extra oils. They're basically they're rinsed and they're hand wiped and then rinsed really quickly to loosen any excess oils.
Yep.
And then we actually simmer them. We use the forget, oh God, I'm trying to remember whose method this was originally.
Sounds
But
like a Garrett Geese
I
thing.
want to say it might have been garage yeast, but yep. So we boil them. We use basically the same method. We take the time, remove it from the solids. We make a
Hmm.
stock, so to speak,
Yep.
refrigerate it to solidify the fats, huck that, and then we'll add a little bit of pressed Concord grape in primary, and then in our secondary we'll add the rest of the grape. And my one little trick is, and for any of you out there, I'm not going to tell you, go look for it. There's a particular yeast that has something where if you let the mead rest on the yeast cake for an excessive amount of time, it imparts a slight bready characteristic.
Oh,
So we were actually able to create the peanut butter jelly white with a little touch of white bread on the flavor profile by
there you go.
intentionally creating a traditional wine flaw. So
Yeah.
that was how we were able to fully encompass the nostalgic idea, because it wasn't just the peanuts, which were on the front, and then you
Yeah.
had your jelly on your finish, but just at the very end, in that little bit of waning flavors as the taste closes
Yeah.
off, you would get
Yeah.
these soft little like Wonder Bread notes, and it really helps. It brings back that brown bag lunch feeling. It really helped, and a lot
Yeah.
of people really connected with that. And I mean, it's been the way that I prefer to do it, because to me it does literally taste like a sandwich in a glass, and and it's ours is called the recess incident,
I
and
love it.
it's actually based on a real life incident where I got a concussion by running around a corner too fast, and held a peanut butter and jelly sandwich as a blocker. Um, so you know
There we
things here
go.
have significance. Yeah.
No, dude,
But
that the best names come from the best stories.
oh yeah, no, we have I have my like little snark, and again, like, this is no disrespect to anybody out there, but we will not call a raspberry mead raspberry beret, um, because I think I've been at 9 or 10 meaderies, if that's what they've had, and so every single one of ours is inspired by the musician Prince, but none are called raspberry beret. So we have
Yeah.
things like Little Red Vet and the Prince and things like that. So it's just a
Yeah.
kind of it's just me poking fun, and I can't help it. And just kind of being like, but there's so
Yeah.
many names out there. There's so many. So so yeah, so like we have little things like that where it's just now it's all a joke, and
Yeah.
it's just meant to be taken as fun. But it's like, yeah, no, like people look at our stuff and they're like, well, why is it called that? And
Yeah.
like, well, I have to tell you that might be missing the point, but
See, and
it's fun.
those are the types of cheeky mead names that I'm on board with. The ones I'm over are like the Mead Rita or
Mhm.
the Mead Hito. Give us a
Yeah.
cool, like, unique phrase mead name. I'm on board with that. It's not that the other ones aren't fitting. It's just that they're burned out.
No, no, and I think like my current favorite, let's see, my current favorite on the menu right now is our Arnold Palmer inspired session.
What's it
It's
called?
called Christina.
Ooh, I don't get that one.
Christina. If you've ever seen the movie The Other Guys with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, there's
Not.
a very funny scene in that, and you can look it up. You'll be fine.
I'll check it out. It's
It's
on the
pretty
list.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like anybody who knows it, yeah, you're gonna instantly make the connection, and yeah, and it's just like little things like that where it references a it just references a part of the movie where one of the characters visits an ex, and kind of the ex is still into him even though the husband's right there,
It becomes a whole thing
and the whole thing. And it's fantastic. But again, like anybody comes in there like because of that, and I'm like, yeah, no, exactly.
because
They're
of
like,
that.
really? I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. It's Midnight Society is the Midnight Society is called the Midnight Society because it reminds me of walking through the woods in the fall.
Oh,
And,
I was hoping you were going to
and
say because of
no, yep, and because of Are You Afraid of the Dark? It made the imagery when it comes up on the screen and they have the fire, the campfire,
and the
and the
boat
dark
hanging in the
background,
water
like
and the
that's right. That
yes.
is what the breathing, like the I don't. It's hard to describe. Not quite the taste, but like as you breathe and you feel like the meat, it has this like sensation of almost like walking through the woods at night kind of thing. And I love that. Like it's
Yes.
with the Earl Grey tea and the sage really do this beautiful kind of tango. And again, like there's some method to my madness, but madness no less. I admit.
Well, it's very kind of you to admit that it's madness to some degree. Uh,
Look, you got to be crazy to do this. Nobody, I don't think any one of us are saying, and I'm not going to speak for everyone else, but I'm
yeah,
pretty sure there's plenty of people with their hands up right now.
100%. So my buddy Steven over in Michigan is saying, "What yeast strain gives that bready profile?" Inquiring minds want to know. I said, Steven, if you're lucky enough, maybe if you message Deadwood, they might hook you up with that knowledge. I doubt that's something he wants to throw out just all nilly willy on the internet.
Yeah, I'm always happy. I'm always open for questions, and I don't hide my recipes. But
There we go.
this gives you a reason to say hi to us.
There you go. And Steven, I love that cat. He was a couple weeks ago, I was fortunate enough to be able to get to visit Maniacal Meadery there, just outside the Detroit area, and got
Yeah.
to do my first collab mead. It was so cool.
Oh,
Um,
that's awesome.
and he was one
That
of
is
the cats that
awesome.
was there to help me, and he helped facilitate the whole thing. So yes, please, Stephen, reach out to Tom, and I'm sure he would gladly invite in some conversation with you about peanut butter and jelly meads.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, um,
I'm like, you'll be surprised when you find out what it is. But no, like it's, and again, like you had asked, no, we definitely have like, it's a unique challenge, and in our industry, you know, in cities right now, I feel like
yeah,
we have the most opportunity in this rough economy, because we just, by the numbers, we have much more chances to get a potential customer and bring them in.
yeah,
You know, so that's something else that I consider a lot is, you know, it may be harder, but you'll find your people, and you'll find, you
you'll
know,
find
those,
your
if you
tribe.
treat right, like if you treat your customers right, and you know, you make them a part of your community too.
Yeah,
Like I've always said, like Vegas is very much a glitz and glamour thing, and
yeah,
I always believe is you build a community to sell your product and not the other way around. You
yes.
know, so I think it's a very important thing that, you know, learning to respect and listen to your customers. Like it does not mean do every little thing that's asked, because many unreasonable questions will be asked of you. I can guarantee that.
So
But
many.
yep. Why don't you have a kitchen? I don't know. I just didn't have a couple 100,000 for a kitchen. So,
Yeah.
you know, little things like that. Like these are real
Why don't
questions
you
that I
have a
get.
Ferrari?
Right. Like, why don't you have a kitchen? Yeah, you'll get
Yeah,
the weirdest things, you know, and stuff like that. So it's, but again, like you put forward the best you can. You put forward I think your heart, and that's the thing too. Is I don't think you can do this for money. I think you can only do this because you love it. I don't. I mean, there's always potential, and there's tons of potential for something like this. You know, like in a
yeah,
city like Las Vegas, there's so many potentials, but at the end of the day, our potential and what we do is like it. You have to love your product.
yeah.
You have to love it so much that people love it just from they just from being around you and hearing
From your
enough about it.
residual energy that's given off of you, they have there's so much of it being given off that they love what you love because you love it so much.
Yeah, no, my
Yeah,
father, God rest his soul, always said that I was meant for sales, and I argued with him up until the very end. And I will say that, you know, sitting here now, like you know, he was right all along, because at the end of the day, it's I'm selling myself to sell the product.
yeah,
I have to be the ambassador, and you know, it's one of those things where I couldn't sell something I didn't care about, because I
yeah,
do like genuinely love what I do. It's so easy.
yeah.
It's and the again the industry out here. It's, you know, I go in, I visit, I say, hey, blah blah blah, I got this. You thinking about carrying some? Yeah, sure, send some next week. It's a very open industry. People,
Yeah.
like even down here in Vegas, people, you know, it's like I can call up to one of the liquor stores and be like, hey, blah blah blah, da da da. Hey, I have some stuff coming out. You want some? We're it's not easy. It's not, the stuff's not like the best like friend for just, you know, maintaining stuff, and you're going to be like every other business owner changing plans in this. But man, love it,
Yeah.
just love what you do.
Yep.
Like honestly, like, you know, there's days where I'm cleaning out like you know, calcification out of like swamp coolers and stuff like
Yes.
that. And you know what, I still, at the end of the day, I'm happy to smile and really enjoy the process. I think
Yeah.
that's key. You know, it's what keeps me coming
Realize.
back every day.
Yeah. Realize as a professional mead maker, the vast majority of your time will be not spent making mead, but cleaning and prepping and all those things. The actual mead making part will be 15% of your time.
Right. And even at the size we are, I typically handle so much that my right hand guy Troy, like I taste something, I go, okay, da da da, let's add this and this, and then he takes care of it,
Yeah.
because it's just, you know, I get to play QA, because the things that he's skilled enough to do, he can
Yeah.
do, and by all means let him do that, so that I can help us hit into new areas and continue to grow and make new like crazy opportunities.
Do
It's
those
super
other
fun.
things that
Like,
the executive chef is supposed to do.
yeah, you know, like we did a collaboration with Liquid Death Water,
Whoa!
and you know, it was just one of those
Are you
things.
serious?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
fucking
100%.
huge.
Yeah, no, we used their Austrian spring water, and we made a mango and lime mead to go along with some of their flavored water
Yeah.
profiles, and you know, and it showed up in a van with bunches of cases of liquid death, and we sat there over a fermenter, cracking cans and pouring them in, like it was Steve Austin, and I mean, you know, we just
It
like
was one
we
beer.
just
It
kept
was
going.
two beers.
Yeah.
It was three beers. Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
but it's these kind of opportunities. We're currently working on a barrel aging project that
Yeah.
started out as a collaboration with Bottle Logic and one of our local brewers, and
Yeah.
now that barrel's with us.
Beer zombies?
No, actually, Craft House.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're our oldest brewery in oh no, second oldest. Sorry, Beer Zombies and Tenay are now one thing, and they are the oldest, but
Gotcha.
no, oldest in this area. So they did that, and you know, we got to make a mead and age it in a really fresh E.H. Taylor bourbon barrel, like single
Ooh.
barrel. It was fantastic. So like being in a city like this, you do get a lot of opportunities that I think are harder to find elsewhere because I mean,
Yeah.
so much stuff is coming to the strip. So much stuff is coming to the liquor stores and the bars and everything. So that things like you know strange, unique barrels or
Or there.
fall in your lap at random points. Yeah, you know,
It's not often you find a
you know one of the
Sazerac barrel outside of Louisiana.
right. And I'm all like, can somebody send me a port barrel? But you know, at the same point, it's like we're not in Portugal and we have one traditional winery, so I can't, you know. I'm not
Yeah.
going to ask to squeeze blood from a stone either. I'll take what I can get, but even
Yeah,
then,
I'm not the city of
it's
Henderson. I'm not
fantastic.
squeezing blood from turnips.
Yeah. Oh God, but no,
Yeah.
yeah. And again, like I'll, I'll show you guys real quick. Like if you look over my shoulder here,
Yeah.
like we're a traditional brew house. We use smaller fermenters. What you can't see off screen
Yeah.
is our 2.5s, but you know we're about 18 barrel, and you know it's still managed. Again, it's just
Yeah.
a matter of moving, rotating, and servicing,
Yeah.
and busting
Yeah.
butts. But you know, at the end of the day, like I, I I look at this and I say, I'm thankful for everything it gives me, both the happiness and the strife. Like it all at the end of the day is just its own reward. And no matter what, I always look on this in these times as something where just being able to create something and give directly to my community something that
Yeah.
we worked on with our you know our own hands, our blood, sweat, and tears. Um, you know, it's one of those things. It's like, no, I can die happy. I've done the things I've wanted to do, and this is I just want to do this for as long as I can.
You gotta love it when you've filled your bucket list so much that you gotta create a new bucket list.
Yeah, I'm like now it's like
Yeah.
I don't want to buy anything, so I don't know what to do.
I have to be real. Huge fan of Beer Zombies. I would love a Beer Zombies Deadwood collab. That would be legit.
Yeah, I have to talk to the owner. Like I you know
Yeah.
we're in the guild and we do the same stuff. I just got to bug him one of these days. He's really open, but
Well,
it's just
I know
on
he's
me to
done it
go
with
bug
other
him.
meaderies in the past,
Yeah,
so it would not be out of the realm.
no, and it's really a
Yeah.
matter of I know how it works. I just need to reach out to him and start the discussion. But
Yeah.
again, like yeah, it would be a blast, and I really love it. We're trying to see if we can. Going to be doing possibly a honey lager with one of the
Ooh,
breweries and
yes.
stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like so there's a lot of opportunity, and because this is a close community and a drinking city, man, we get to have fun.
Yes.
Man, we get to have fun.
All right. We're coming down to the last 10 minutes now that we're almost 2 hours into this amazing
Wow,
interview. Yes.
wow.
All right. So
Thank you
this,
for your time, man.
oh, thank you for your time. I know it's a lot to ask anybody, especially somebody who's running a business and doing multiple things to commit this kind of time to their day. So I appreciate you.
Yeah,
So
no,
I got some.
I'm in them all the way.
Well, it clearly it shows. So I got some rapid fire questions, a little behind the scenes, get to know you type of stuff. All right. What's the first thing you think about when you wake up in the morning?
First thing I think about when I wake up in the morning is if my dog got out and got into any more of my shoes.
Ooh, God, that sounds like an potentially expensive habit for your dog.
He's a puppy.
He's
That's a puppy.
Yeah, that's fair. Hot or cold? just in general?
Mm, oh, hot.
Yeah, being in Las Vegas, that kind of sounds about right for the par for the course. Uh,
You get
toilet,
stranded in a blizzard too. That'll limit your
ooh,
ability to take the cold.
des- desire to want to be in the cold. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
toilet paper over the front or hanging out the back.
Oh, always the front. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, favorite breakfast cereal when you were a kid?
Lucky Charms.
Still to this day?
Yes, or Count Chocula, because now it's
Oh, what?
not just during Halloween.
Dude, that first time I saw the Count Chocula, Boo Berry, and Franken. No, yeah,
Frankenberry, yeah.
yeah,
Frankenberry, yeah.
Boo Berry and Frankenberry. Yeah, outside of holiday season, I was like, blow my mind. And I was like, this used to be like you had to wait for this, and now you can just here it is in February. You can get Count Choc. Get out of here, bunch of
Yeah.
crap.
No, and I mean, like, no, and it's funny because my wife is a big part of my support system. She works a full-time job, which takes care of a lot of the stuff around the house, so I can do the hours
Yeah.
here. And she is just insistent on me eating like a elementary school kid because we have like frozen pizza, like frozen Red Baron, like French bread pizzas in the house and stuff. Because I'm like, no,
So
because
good.
sometimes
Those are
like
so good.
yeah, and sometimes I don't want fast food, and I get home at like whatever time it is. Like that's still slightly better. So.
Oh, dude, the Frankenberry, the Blueberry, the Count Chocula, that's where it's at.
Yep.
If you're going out, were we going out for burgers or are we going out for pizza?
Here we're going out for burgers.
Yeah, I don't know too many pizza spots when I was in Las Vegas, but there was plenty of legit burger joints.
Oh
What was
yeah.
your first car?
My first car was a 1991 Seafoam Green Ford Taurus.
Oh, good Lord, that had to have been an absolute bear of a car to drive at 16, 17.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's not
Those are
nothing beats driving
monstrous.
around the sedans. Yeah, yeah. Nothing beats an early '90s sedan. Yep. Oh yeah, night. Yeah. Uh-huh. And
Oh,
that
God.
one color that all of a sudden came out and then was everywhere for like 5 years. Yeah.
Yes, very
Yep.
much so. What was your first job or your worst job that you've ever had?
Okay. My first job I had was actually working at a ice cream shop on the East Coast called Carvel.
I've heard of that one.
Like, yeah, so Northeast mostly, but like unlike Baskin Robbins, a lot of the stuff, you're actually, and this was actually as a teen, like 15 and a half, I think was when I started working, and which they only give you a vanilla base and a chocolate base. All other flavors are made by hand. So
Holy,
everything mixed in, everything is all done by hand. Yeah, so it was like halfway between working at a mom and a pop and a Baskin Robbins, even though it was a chain. It was, but you got to learn like our banana one had real bananas in it. We used real
yeah,
black raspberries for our like, and the ones that had like all stuff and flakes. No, you layered
yeah.
that and mashed it by hand. Like, but that was my first my very first job, and that one was yeah, like it was really unique. It was fun actually as a kid, like to be able to make stuff like that, and
Yeah.
all the treats are handmade in shop, the dipped cones, the little flying saucers, all that stuff. So like, yeah, you'd
Hell
be
yeah.
surprised. Like, yeah, so yeah, apparently food's been around me for a
So yeah,
while.
you've been a food guy for about since puberty hit.
Yeah, you know, I don't know, 30, what is it, 25 years or so?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no shit. Um, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, that's always a hard one. Mine would
Always,
be
I'm always a
time
big fan of
manipulation.
invisibility myself.
I'm going with time
Oh,
manipulation.
yeah, solid call, man. Gotta love those Doctor Strange abilities, man.
Well, and it's something that I learned before this, and part of the reason why I did this is because it's like money you can always make back, but time you can't. So I always say that the best way you
Yeah,
can incentivize me is to incentivize my time and not my wallet.
man, I think that's a great lesson in general, just for life, man. And it incentivize my time, not my money. I can make more money. I can't make more time.
Right,
I'm
right,
here
and
for
it
that, man.
sounds like and it sounds like something, and it's like I don't get paid more than my guys do here because we have a lot of growing to do and stuff like that. So I'm not talking from a place where I have money to throw around. It's just, I feel like even now, like at 40 years old, I look and I go, wow,
Yeah.
like I look back on the times, there's been so many times where I've just been head down, forging through something and not taking the time to appreciate it. And if I could have those years back,
Yeah.
like I would give you every dime for that.
Yeah. It'd be,
or to live,
I'll trade in every penny I'm gonna make from now forward to have those times back, type of thing.
Yeah.
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 What's your current favorite beer or mead you're drinking?
My current favorite mead that I'm drinking is got to be our Five Alive. It's citrus punch based on the old Minute Maid drink.
Yes.
It's like 5 different citrus. Yeah, it's 5 different citrus fruits.
Lemon,
And when it
lime,
comes to beer,
orange, grapefruit, and that Buddha hand.
and tangerine was the last one.
Tangerine.
Yep. But that, and then our neighbors down the street just finished making a White Russian Imperial Stout. That's fantastic. And so that's been my beer this week at least.
Nice. Very, very cool. Favorite out of town brewery or meadery?
Favorite out of town personally for me, for meadery, Lost Cause has to be my favorite personal out of town.
Yeah.
And God, I'm trying to think. My brewery is tough because I've been to a lot that have all been like really unique. But I grew up on Long Island, and we had what's now part of Anheuser-Busch, but back then wasn't. It was a little place called Blue Point Brewery. That was on the water, and they used to have free tastings on Sundays, and we knew guys, and they'd come out of the water with a sack of oysters and trade oysters for beers, and sitting
little vibe.
sitting there with like just sitting there, water in front of you, like the breeze, like eating oysters that came out of the water, literally minutes ago, and those kind of things. Like it was a time, and it's like one of those things where, God, if I could just have that could just continue to exist, it would be amazing.
Yeah, I hate to see the smaller spots get bought out by the larger places. We had a spot in Seattle. I grew up there, and it was a similar type of vibe. It's like small town used to have this really cool like local vibe, and they got bought out, and all those things just kind of went by the wayside as they do when things go corporate. But
right.
We can still lament on our memories and nostalgia.
Yeah.
If you're going out, pool or darts?
Pool. I like interaction, so I like to see things move. So definitely pool.
Nice. If you could star in any movie remake as the main character, what would you choose? Like if I was going to pick, I would pick The Matrix and replace Keanu Reeves as Neo, because I think that would be the dopest. Like Neo is like one of my favorite characters.
Wow, that's a really good question, man. That is a really solid one. Yeah, this is gonna sound really odd.
No wrong or right answers here.
I know. I'm gonna say what's his face? From the Godfather series, Tom.
Marlon Brando?
No.
Oh.
Tom, the brother, was played by Robert Duvall. Because he was never under the gun, but he was always part of the family.
He was always in, but he was always on the side. Never have to worry about getting a horse head in his bed.
Right. Like, and he was close enough that if anybody did try to mess with him, the family was there. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm an Italian kid from New York. There's always some kind of glamorization to that lifestyle.
Hey, no, I'm a huge fan of anything kind of mafia lifestyle and everything. It's one of those like things where it's like I know this is something I shouldn't glorify and glamorize, but it's just too cool not to.
Yeah. No, I mean, like it's definitely something that's always had my draw. But when you first started saying it, I was like, oh God, I watch a lot of dark, depressing stuff, don't I?
See, do I like Casino better? Is it Goodfellas?
Right. The Grudge, I don't know. Like, it's like, no.
As long as you're not coming at me with like Requiem for a Dream or something. Man, I really want to like make
uh,
refrigerators that move on their own.
oh God, that's funny. Shit, that's
Anybody
good.
out there who's still managed to be watching at this time or in the future, if you're not watching live, please go follow Deadwood Meadery on all the socials. Hit up their website, deadwoodmeadery.com. Got the link to all the Instagrams, the X's, all that stuff. Whatever they're on, it's on their website. Go give them a follow. And if you're certainly in the Las Vegas area, head out to Henderson. Do yourself a favor, take that little bit extra Uber trip out there and drink everything they got, because I can almost guarantee, just from talking with Tom and his mentality and his approach to making mead, that they're going to be some high quality products out there.
And I'm gonna be sending you some. I'm gonna be sending you some next week. I just got some stuff canned up, so I'm gonna be sending you some sessions in addition to the stills I was gonna send.
Awesome. So also be looking out for a review of some Deadwood Meadery stuff coming up on the TK and Drinks channel in the relatively near future. And then, like I said, if you have any questions about anything you heard from Tom talking about, as far as processes, procedures, any of that type of stuff, go ahead and reach out.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like a legit cat who will get back to you as quick as he can, being almost a one-man operation, a two-person operation there. So time is definitely not always the easiest thing to come by, but I can guarantee Tom will get back to you because he loves meadery makers just as much as everybody else.
No, and I think, you know, another thing I want to say, because I think this probably is good for, I think, anybody
Sure.
out there who's either part of it or not, is that like we host, we have a local mead, so like mead homebrew group called the Vegas Mead Association.
There it is.
You know, and I open the doors open, you know, like one Saturday, you know, a month, to have them hold meetings here and everything like that. They're not required to purchase anything or anything like that. I'm a part of the association as well, and I think it's important to open your doors to your own community, and remember, like, you know, I always tell people, like, I don't think I'm the best mead maker in Las Vegas. I'm just the one who opened up the shop, and I think it's important to realize there's a lot of great people with great ideas around you, and giving them a place to have a community is, I feel like, the best we can possibly do for them.
Those are phenomenal words to live by. Again, thank you so much for your time today, Tom. You've been a great guest, and I cannot wait to try your meads. And when I get out to Las Vegas, visit the shop and check it out. I'm incredibly stoked to get out there.
Stoked to have you, TK, honestly, and it's been my absolute pleasure. And thank you for giving me this platform to share my viewpoints and opinions, you know, with you and you know, all your followers and everything. So thank you so much for all that.
Not a problem. And like I said to anybody, this has been like 2+ years in the making, and I am finally glad to have it done. And I'll have to have you on again. When we get those meads in, we'll do a little tasting review, walkthrough, guided tasting, and we'll get that set up.
Sounds awesome.
Have a great rest of your night, Tom, and I will talk to you in the next one.
You as well. Thank you, sir.
Peace. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your night. Thanks for popping in here. Next week, we are doing a mead review. Do not have an interview scheduled, so I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys during that time. Have a great rest of your night. I know it's been a long one, but I will see you in the next video. Peace.